time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, welcome to Tea Time. It is evening tea time. That's right. We didn't have an afternoon tea time this afternoon because we had it rescheduled and we had it a little earlier last week. So that tea time was already done a little early because she was in a hurry to be on tea time. So we did that on a Wednesday. Yes, Miss Liz did a tea time on Wednesday. So you'll want to check that out. It was with Diane Bader. But tonight I have a returning guest in the house. I have Newton Vanriel in, and we're going to talk about his second book. That's right. He was here for his first one. Now we're going to talk second book, and we're going to talk about two teas tonight because he had me on a search for 3 days looking for his first tea. He's like, Miss Liz, what was my first tea I gave you? And I was like, it's in a book somewhere. Let me find it. And I went searching for 3 straight days. And yesterday I finally found it. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I found that tea. But yes, I have all the teas from all 5 seasons out there. So I had to go searching through a lot of books. But tonight, let's get you over to the YouTube channel. Let's get you to subscribe to that channel. Ring that little doorbell and you're going to be notified when all the tea times are up. And you can watch them over and over again. So you can watch Newton's first tea time and you can watch the second tea time. And you can do what do you call that? The word I'm looking for, not a rerun, but it'll come to me. Miss Liz just had a brain freeze. So let's get started. Let's get the disclaimer. Let's get the bio, and let's get Newton in here, and let's spill a good tea. Tonight's tea is teaching, education, advocacy, and his first tea that he served me was, I have it here, teaching, eagerness, and attitude. But he also was sharing some other words. So we're going to play with some words tonight and all of that good stuff. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your wine, whatever you'd like to drink. As long as you're behaving yourself, Miss Liz doesn't mind what you're drinking. So you do not have to drink tea with Miss Liz. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz, myself, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forward dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment and taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Ms. Liz, to my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in tonight's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes and we'll see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, tea times are done on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless it's a rescheduled tea time, surprise tea time, and who knows what else comes up. My guests keep me on my toes, so we just never know when tea time is. So just stay tuned and check out that YouTube channel and you'll get notified for all that good stuff. Now, a little bit about Newton. Well, when I first met Newton, I thought Newton, the little Newt, right? The little character that you watch on TV. I was like, oh my goodness, Newton wants to come and talk to me. But I got to meet Newton Vanriel, who is an incredible guy from Canada. He's a family man and has a passion for education and people. He's married for over 30 years to the love of his life, Vivian. I think I'm going to get him to say it. Newton has 2 grown children, Jordan and Alexandra. The Adventures of the Soul Sisters is Newton's first children's book, now sharing his second book of Soul Sisters. And there's a good surprise coming that I know that you guys are going to learn tonight. The book was recipient of the Literature Titan Award 2023. And he has been awarded the City of Pickering Culture Diversity Award 2023. The Adventures of the Soul Sisters has made it to the bestseller list of the Friesen Press bookstore. Newton is a professional fundraiser for over 25 years of political, nonprofit, and consulting experiences. Established Knowledge Solutions Consulting 17 years ago. He's a best-selling author of The Adventures of the Soul Sisters and successful soccer coach for 8 years, church leader of preschool programs for 5 years, volunteer chair for a variety of nonprofits, including Tropicana and Scarborough's Housing Help. He's married for 30 years, partner, a successful civil servant for 35 years, daughter Alexandra is 27, completed master's in food and health inspections, son Jordan, 24, mechanical engineer, graduate full-time engineer at tech company, and former hockey soccer star. For more on Newton, check Miss Liz's Facebook page. So let me get Newton in here so I can take a sip of tea.
Hey,
Well,
hello, Miss Liz. We gonna spill some tea today.
I just feel like I just feel like a rambling roar lion.
It was good. I was like, I felt like a bit of an imposter syndrome, where I go, "That's me." It's okay, Miss Liz. We're gonna spill some tea today,
right? And when we hear our bios, we're like, "Who is that?" Like,
yeah, who is that?
What is that? Like,
but
I did all that.
Well, it's good to live a full life. And I think that's why I enjoy coming on your program, to really talk about the importance of living a full life and doing things in a positive vein to leave a legacy,
Yeah, and we talked about that in the back, right? Legacies and importance of families and enjoying the moment, right?
Of course.
So Newton, for everyone who may not have seen you on the first Teatime, let me go back and ask you again, who were you as a little guy and who are you now as a grown guy?
Well, as a little guy, I was incredibly insecure. I was shyer, and I think people go through their transformational processes, and I wasn't sure of myself. And I think in a way it manifested in me acting a certain way. I think what's happened over time in life, and it's learning. And I think I use the word grace to talk about how when you learn grace, you have a better understanding of not only people, but of yourself. And even part of the tea I'm going to discuss, one of it is acceptance, accepting who you are. So the young Newton used to love collecting bugs, and used to enjoy doing things and reading. I loved reading, and I loved that's where I got the love for just the word, books, and really got involved also in community activities when I was younger. And so the older Newton is, it's interesting. I wouldn't even call myself a leader, because when you call yourself a leader, that it almost sounds facetious, like I'm a leader. I think what I am is I like to inspire people to do more. And as a parent, I inspired, both myself and my wife. My wife is now retired, 37 years the government. Now she's officially retired, and she's enjoying the relaxation of free time. I think with the older Newton, I'm more of a legacy builder. My goal is to build a legacy where not only my children who are adults thrive, but really the entire Soul Sisters movement is a legacy for me, because it's about positiveness, it's about acceptance, it's about family, it's about some really cool things that in this world sometimes people don't focus on. It's kind of sad that people sometimes don't focus on those key areas. So yeah, the young Newton is if the young Newton looked at the old Newton, he would say, "Well, old Newton, you're kind of boring." and the older Newton would say, "You know what, young Newton, you didn't get it. You didn't figure it out yet. Now you figure it out a bit more, and you have a better understanding." And that's why I did the Soul Sisters, to create a sense of understanding for not only the first book, but for the second book that comes out soon.
I can't wait for that second book, because you gave me some goodies, and you were like, "Oh, can I tell you a little bit?" Like, you were excited. You're like, "Can we meet even before Thursday?" And I was like, and you were sharing. I was like, "No, I think we're good. We can wait till Thursday but do you want to share a little bit about what the second book is about? Because, or
Sure,
maybe
sure.
get even a little bit about the first one
Yeah, I will. I
first.
will. I will. The first book is a story about two sisters. It's a story, actually, it begins as a love story of two parents who actually move up to Espanola because they have property. Now, Espanola is in northern Ontario, so I didn't make it an urban book. I made it a bit of a country book. And they actually, unfortunately, were having problems having children. So they actually adopted one one girl and then another girl. They adopted Charm and they adopted Dawn. Charm is a redhead. Dawn is a black girl, and so that thus began the union of the Soul Sisters in the first book. And it talks about their adventures. They saw each other as twins. They didn't see the color. They saw, hey, we're twins. We're gonna hang out, and they created their own world of imagination in the farm. They were in the farm had farm animals who became their friends. They had a world of books in which the parents were very much into the spirits. The last name is Spirit Parents. They were very much involved in books and education. So the girls were probably advanced even for their young age. And so it's an adventure that leads them to the second book when they start entering school. So the second book is the Soul Sisters. Well, the first book is the Adventures of the Soul Sisters, and the illustrator is Monique Robb-Brent. And again, the illustrator is Monique. She's amazing from Oshawa. She does paintings, paint parties. Great illustrator. This one is the Soul Sisters Go to School, and the second book actually continues the relationship of the Soul Sisters, but they're going into school. And then it introduces the Soul Brothers. So you have a full introduction of two individuals. One is Raj, and he's actually adopted too. So these are all adopted kids. And then there is Ken. Ken is Chinese. Now, Ken enjoys poetry. Raj enjoys science. What's interesting is that Dawn, one of the girls, enjoys science, and Shram enjoys poetry. So it kind of brings them together to hang out as a group. And then they meet the elementary school principal, and they call her Mrs. Osa, which is Spanish for bear. And they have a perception that she's scary, but they find out she's okay. And then I introduce Big Jim. Big Jim lives close to the farm. He's a very tall, imposing young man. And so I won't give it all away, but the book is about soul people getting together. And in a world where people judge each other way too often, this book is about people connecting from all different. So you have a South Indian, you have a Chinese, you have a black, you have a white, and they live in the country where sometimes, people have perceptions of them. It's kind of weird. Why do they have their own language? Why they do this? But the Soul Sisters represent a certain strength within themselves where they want to engage with people in the Soul Sisters way. In other words, honest, open, and a sense of wonder. So they use the farm. The entire Soul Sisters group uses the farm as a playground. So they go and they get involved. So the key part of this book is about the power of engagement. And that's one of my T's, the engagement part, the power of engaging, the power of connecting, and the power of accepting people, especially the definition of family, because the definition of family is so broad right now in terms of what is a family. So what's cool about the book? It's just a happy but thought-provoking book for a certain age group, probably between age 8 and 12. But what I find about this book is that adults are reading it too. And what they say is that they can see themselves in the book. They can see the fact that sometimes they felt like an outsider. We've all felt like outsiders in our life at certain times, including myself. And I think that's why I wrote it I wrote about the fact that it's okay to be unique in a world that wants everybody to fall into line and be monolithic, be one way. This book is about being unique and having the ability to be that way. And that's cool. And it's okay. I wrote in the book, in the beginning of the book, I wrote in the dedication to all the fish who swim upstream. And that means to all the individuals who sometimes may not fit in. Maybe I was too much into books or into certain things. You know, I was catching bugs. People used to say I was weird because I used to catch bugs and put them in bottles and catch tadpoles. And for me, that brought me joy. So I was a geek, and I'm probably still am, but I'm just an older, graceful, accepting geek.
Well, I think catching bugs is something to do because they make
Please.
these they make these kits that they sell at the dollar
Yeah.
store to catch bugs. So you're not the only
Yeah.
one catching the bugs, right? There's a lot of them out there that are looking for bugs.
And let me tell you, 2 years ago, I raised a praying mantis. I got the praying mantis eggs online, and I had praying mantis in an aquarium in the library. And this is me at 57 collecting bugs. And it's satisfying. It makes me happy. And it doesn't hurt anybody. And, you know, it didn't escape. It didn't drive my wife crazy, or they were confined in the aquarium. And then I let a whole bunch of them go at the end of the year. So there's probably praying mantis all over the city of Pickering.
You started something there, Newton.
I started a praying mantis movement. My next book, praying mantis movement.
There you go. There's a new book. I have a
you
couple
go.
questions from what you shared, Newton. You mentioned that all the kids in the story in the two books, they were all adopted. Is adoption something that you've done in your life, or is it a part of somebody in your family that drew that in,
Well, I
or
knew
did you?
somebody in my church that was adopted, and he faced certain challenges through that. But I wrote that about to just, if I just gave them a traditional, father, mother type of environment, I wanted to make it acceptable to accept family, the different definitions of family. That's one of the reasons I did it. I think it goes back to the theme of swimming upstream. Looking at things in a certain perspective is a good thing because it creates an opportunity of open-mindedness when you're dealing with people. We remember the COVID period where people were just judging people and there was so much hatred. So what I'm trying to do with this book is this: the soul sisters movement is about love. It's about connecting, accepting, and being good, not only to others, but also being good to yourself, because the soul sisters love each other and they love themselves. And it's not a love of selfishness, like ego. It's a love of knowing that they can provide some type of contribution to this world. And we all have special gifts. You know, a lot of us don't use it, or they're afraid to use it. And I've decided to be fearless in my use of my gifts that I have. And if it fails, it fails. But it hasn't, so it's been pretty cool.
I really appreciate that you have put the children as adopted children, because we don't talk about adoption in today's world
No.
very much. So that
No, we
that
don't.
opens a lot of doors, right? A lot of good conversations, a lot of opportunities for people that may not be able to have children that can adopt. You know, like these books can be used for that as well. Have you ever reached out to adoption agencies with your
Yes, I
children's books?
did. Yes, I have actually a few of them. And what's interesting, I did a presentation for the York Region Children's Aid Society for all their staff. And I spoke about the Soul Sisters movement as the power of adoption. And I've spoken to Adoption Ontario and a few other adoption. And I've actually spoken to somebody who promotes ethno-racial books, and she is involved in adoption also too. So I did some research before the book, and I did some research between these two books about the value of adoption. And I've done speaking engagements that cover every gamut. I've done speaking engagements to middle management leaders. I've done speaking engagements to young kids. I've done speaking engagements to staff leaders. I did a mini play up in Port Perry, Ontario, about the Soul Sisters in a church. The picture, the photo that I have is the one with the hat. There is me in that church presenting the play, and two actresses behind me playing Dawn and Charm. It was just, it blew my mind. It was so cool. And this was the first book. So usually the first book, let's face it, the first of anything doesn't get the doesn't resonate sometimes. I think people get it. And also I like promoting it. It's fun. It's fun to promote.
Well, it's breaking the ice, right? It's like the first
Yeah.
tea time, breaking the ice, right? You just never know unless you try it. And then you're like, oh, I did it once, I can do it again, and I can do it again.
That's the power of confidence. I think confidence is built when you try something, and even if you fail, you try, you get it, and you become more graceful with it. It's funny, at work, every internal email that I send in my role as corporate engagement manager ends with Grace. And sometimes people think my name is Grace, but what I'm really saying is look at this issue with a lens of gracefulness. Look at it, don't get too ego driven. Look at it as a way of trying to find a solution. For an organization, actually, the second largest charity, I work for the second largest charity in Toronto, serves over at least 40,000 people a year. And wow. We are powerful. And it goes back to the book. The reason why I love doing this job, the end result is helping people. I love doing this book because the end result is helping people. And they read it and they get it. And it's been, and the circle of my tribe, I say my friends, I call them tribe, people who I've known, family members, my siblings have been incredibly supportive. My brother, my two sisters, very, very tight family. Like I said, my mom is still alive at 92, still holding strong. My father passed away probably about 10 years ago. And, his legacy lives on in us.
What I really liked about your books is when you told me about the brothers, I was like, yes, absolutely, this rocks, because you're bringing unity, right? You're bringing inclusion, yes. Boys and girls, brothers and sisters. This is what the world is. We're all brothers and sisters. And when we connect and we understand each other, understand different cultures and languages and all of that, the world comes together and makes a beautiful place.
And I think the Soul Sisters have a fearlessness. And I think when it comes to interaction, more than likely, you have to have a sense of courage to ask somebody a question, but you have to also respect that maybe they may not give you the correct answer. No, not even the correct answer. They may respond a certain way. But then you use your grace to step back and say, okay, well, maybe this is their perspective. Maybe they're not ready to engage openly about certain subjects. And that's okay. But I think people in this world, sometimes there's so much fear with media and even social media where people are like, oh, I mean, let's say this. It tends to stifle the ability to break bread with somebody and to learn what they're all about. So when I wrote the first book was really just the introduction of the girls. And then I said to myself, look, I'd like to make a tribe. So if you look at the picture of it, it's the principal, the Soul Brothers, Soul Sisters, and Big Jim. And so it becomes a community. So this is about community building and community development, which I've been doing all my life, where I'm working with issues, trying to find resolutions, even in my consulting role. So yeah, it's fun.
Well, and you've been throwing a bunch of different T's at me here. I'm paying attention to all these different words. And your T that you're really shooting at me is tribe, right?
Tribe. Tribe is also similar to the second T, engage. But your tribe are people that you can bounce things off. My wife is, Vivine, actually, that's the name, Vivine. It sounds like Vivian, but Vivine. But she's my number one tribe. She's my number one. That and my kids, they are my core tribe. They're the people that when Father's Day came around, I held a barbecue at a house, and my daughter was there with her boyfriend, and my son came, and my father-in-law came, my brother-in-law came, and my wife was there. We're barbecuing. For me, that's like a highlight when I just can do that, and when there's that love. And both myself and my wife have raised successful kids, an engineer, and my daughter has owns a home in Ottawa now, and she's a health and food inspector for the city of Ottawa full time, while my son is a mechanical engineer. These kids are not only good at what they do, but and that's why I have all the degrees in back. Most of them aren't mine, but they're also good at being community minded, and that's so important. They're involved in community activities. They realize money, as important as money should not drive you in everything you do. If it drives you, then you're missing out on the beauty of life that is not quantifiable, that is not counted by dollars and cents. It's counted by interaction and connection, and that's what I love about the Soul Sisters movement. When I love to speak about it, and I think that's what's leading me to do public speaking and motivational speaking at community centers, at libraries, at social service agencies, at theaters, and talking to Ms. Liz, giving some tea. I'm
Well, and
giving some tea to Ms. Liz.
Right, Newton, and you're mentioning a lot of things, interaction, community, right? We don't speak about that. COVID hit us 4 years ago, and some of us are still stuck in that 4 years
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
We got to bring the community back together. We got to start interacting again. We got to start having these community events again. And I like that. Before we went live, we were talking about other things besides just the book, right? The motivational speaking, getting engaged and having events and stuff like that. Because writing books is a lot of work, but promoting the book, let's talk about promoting books. Right? That's a whole different story.
Let me tell you, Ms. Liz, it's a lot of work, and but I have to say it fits my gifts. Everybody has gifts, and my gifts, and my siblings would say I can sell I can sell sand to somebody that lives in the desert. You know what I mean? Because I've learned how to listen better. And I think what's happened over time, it's not me just talking, it's me listening and then translating it in my head, and then having those type of conversations, and me being fearless and contacting anybody who wants to hear about the book, and building relationships. Like I've built a relationship with you, Ms. Liz. I've built a relationship where I feel comfortable coming back again. I've done a few second round type of activities. I've done a lot of vendor events the second time around. One of them was really cool. It was actually at our Pickering Casino. It was a Caribbean activity, and I sold at least about 40 books at that location. Wow. It was just a great energy. My wife was with me, and we were just having fun. And I think there's a certain group of people that really get this book. School teachers love it. People involved in nonprofits, government people who can see artists love it. And then there are grandparents love it, because they tend to want to give it to their grandkids. I know you're a grandparent. I'm looking forward to being a grandparent myself. That hasn't happened. But if I was a grandparent, I'd say, hey, here's that book signed by some guy named Newton. And
I do that with all of my children's books that I have. Authors that I've had on Teatime, right? I like to support my guests, and I can read that story to my granddaughter and say, you know what, Nanny knows this person. It's not like you're just buying a book off of a shelf. You actually know the person. You actually can say, you know what, I know who wrote this book.
It's so satisfying when, for me, the most fun is when I'm signing books, because they say, okay, I ask them what you want to sign. They say, oh, just sign whatever you want to sign. And I'll sign something that basically says, always love yourself, work hard and take care of your soul. I just kind of let it roll. I don't try to do like, okay, these are the things I'm going to write down. I just write it and then I sign it. And then I bring a lot of candy to love my my vendor events because kids love candy. So what you do is you leave candy on the table.
It's like candy too.
And also, I got a sweet tooth like you wouldn't believe, Miss T.
Right?
I love that. So I leave the candy on the table. The kids come and the parents come along. I speak to the parents. I speak to the kids. And a lot of the grandparents say, yeah, I have a grandchild that would love to have a theme of this. And some of them reflect that they have their own soul sister and soul brother. And that's where I love this book. Because I grew up with a Chinese guy who was my best friend for years and years. We hung out. And he's my soul brother. So soul brothers and sisters are people from different cultures, different backgrounds who just hang out, and it happens so much in Toronto and the region because of the diversity of people that you get the opportunity when you have that soul brother. I used to go over his house and have, remember those Lolas, those candies, the Lolas, those frozen treats that you would break. You had really big, and the Kisco kids used to suck those things. He used to have a freezer full of them. So I went over there just to hang. And his father owned a Chinese restaurant. So I'd go there and get the egg rolls and all that stuff, just hang. And that's breaking bread. Yeah. That's breaking bread, right? So when you break bread, it builds relationships. And it's so beautiful that, we're both adults now and we're living our lives and still friends. So in this world, that's the Soul Sisters movement. It's not only sisters, it's a soul movement of people who connect and they get each other and they enjoy each other's company and they learn from each other, from their culture, from the even differences of opinions. You can learn from that too.
And that's what I love about it. It's so educational, and everyone knows Miss Liz loves education, right? So,
Me too.
we need to bring different ways of teaching. And you mentioned grandparents, and I'm a grandma, and I love children's books because they have good messages in them. They bring back social skills of life and that. And sometimes you just want to be that little kid too. You might be 50, 60, 70, and you might say, you know what, give me that children's book. We used to read Archie books and Little Richie and, comic books, let's bring it back to the children's books. And there are a lot of adults that can relate to this book because some adults have trouble reading, right? They didn't get the education back in the day. Mm-hmm. So this book is really easy to read as well. So it resonates with a lot of people and a lot of different ways. So I want to get into your teas because you gave me so many different teas here, Newton.
I got my teas.
We have a pot of tea here. We have a pot of tea here. We have a tea.
I have my new teas. Do you want me to give you my new teas?
Sure. Give me your new teas.
Okay. My first tea is try. Keep a sense of wonder in everything you do. Be fearless. And you're going to fail sometimes, but try. Make the effort, and you never know what results come from that. So try is my first T. The E is engage and reach out to people that you may not know. Reaching out to communities that you may not be aware of. That maybe you look at it and maybe you have a bias, a view of that community. So you reach out, you engage. And engaging with people means an open mind. Listen, engaging, listening. Frankly, is the hardest skill for me. I gained it it took me 50 years to become an effective listener. Because before, I'm Jamaican, so Jamaicans love chatting. We love this chatting. So that's what we do. We chat, we talk a lot. But to listen is a gift. And it means to focus with this instead of this, and take in the information and the golden nuggets. Because as a fundraiser, there are opportunities when you listen to a corporation. I work primarily with corporations where they may give us $1 million, but you have to find the synergy between what they want and what you want as an organization, the synergy. So, and the last one is accept. Accept who you are. Accept self, the Maslow greater hierarchy, self-actualization is on top. You have to eventually get to a point where you accept who you are with faults and everything that entails that, and be comfortable with that. And it takes maturity. I think, like you said, the younger version of me didn't accept me. The older version of me is clearly accepting of me. And that means sometimes those who don't accept or talk to people, they got to go.
Right? Sometimes you just gotta go. You gotta go to a different table. You gotta go to a different party.
Yeah.
And we host different tea parties at this table. And Newton, you gave me so many teas that I love it, because Sandy did that from season 1. She's like, Liz, can I give you more than one word? And I'm like, absolutely, because our teas change, right? When we make a cup of tea, sometimes we drink the green tea, the brown tea, the berry tea, the herbal tea. You know what I mean? So it changes. And that's what life is all about. Our lives change as we grow. Look at the little guy was collecting bugs, and he's still collecting bugs at 57. The little guy and the big guy joins together and accepts one another. And that's what I really love about having you here, Newton, is, when we had our last tea time, we had so much fun as well, because we really got into the connection and including each other and getting to know one another, right? And that's exactly what you just did. Engage with people that you don't know. Newton didn't know me. He came to my table and he's like, Miss Liz, can I have
Miss Liz? Now I know Miss Liz, because she spills the tea.
I spill tea in a different way, guys.
For some reason, I like that southern accent. That's drinking the tea. I spill the tea. Mint julep or something like that. I don't know where that's coming from. My mind works in unique ways.
And I've said this many of times, guys. I'm not a big tea drinker. Yes, I'm the tea lady, but I don't serve a beverage. I serve real life stories and words. And that's exactly what I got when I was a little girl, right? Was storytelling and words. And I'm just bringing it to the future with all these incredible guests like Newton. You gave me teach, education, advocacy. You gave me try, engage, acceptance, attitude, tribe. Like you just kept giving me words. And that's what I mean.
I'm just throwing teas left and right, Liz.
And that's the thing, is we're having a good, honest conversation with words, and we're having fun, and we're expressing ourselves, and we're bringing different to the table. And that's what I like. And I love that your book is so different and includes. So where's the little Jamaican boy in this book? When are you adding the little guy in there?
Me? When I'm adding me? Well,
yeah,
in a way, I represent, in a way, the future of the future of the Soul Sisters. The younger me I still have that. I still have it inside of me. He never left. The young person. And if you ask people who know me, I have this childlike, I love life. I love doing things. I have an enthusiasm in everything I do. I'm a morning person, so I get up early in the morning. Sometimes in the morning, I'll do book work before I start my full-time work. And because I find mornings are new, it's a new day. Anything that's happened to you in the past, regrets, like the song says, regrets, I have a few, but it's more moving forward. So every new day is a new opportunity. And every new day is a new opportunity for me to talk about this. And even next week, I'm speaking at a community center. I'm speaking to the staff as a motivational speaker. So this book is taking me on a journey beyond what I even expected. But I'll be honest with you, Miss T, I wrote it down. I actually wrote down in the beginning of writing this book what I wanted, and I'll be very transparent. I wanted it to sell well. I wanted it to win an award, and I wanted it to be understood by the community I live in first, which is Pickering. And I did this in the beginning. And one of the books I want to write down the road is manifesting things. When you manifest something, you have to plot it out. So manifestation means, instead of me just wishing I'm going to do this, I wrote it down and I made the steps possible to achieve that goal. And I'm in my real world, in my job, I'm very structured. It's funny. I sometimes people come around and they seem, oh, he's fun. Da, da. I love order. I'm not. I hate being late. I like achieving a goal, and I like raising a lot of money or opportunities for the charities I get involved in, because I that's my gift. I will never be, I don't know, a nuclear physicist because I don't have that gift. But the
Yeah.
gift I have, I'm honing that. I'm honing it like a C plus student. In other words, C plus student in my mind means you have to improve yourself.
Yeah.
Even though maybe people will view you as an A student, a B plus student, a C plus student means you have to move forward to become an A student. So I am a C plus student in life because I want to learn more to get to that A.
Well, and I like that you did that, the C plus, because there are a lot of children out there when they see their C plus, they're like, oh, I can't do this, I give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up, guys. You can get to that A. You just got to try a little harder. Things are just a little, you come a little different way. Like go left instead of right. Don't give up. And I love that about our conversation, Newton. It is because you show people that you don't have to be at the top. You can be in the middle and you can work to
I
the
have
top.
failed, Liz. I have failed, Liz, in life in certain areas, even in work environments. And one thing I've learned from that is failure without understanding your next steps will lead to continuous failure. So when you fail, you have to kind of, oh, it hurts. Sometimes you cry, and I've cried, and then I get up. So I've learned that life is short. Enjoy it. I've seen friends pass. I've seen people pass in my life who I was close to. Enjoy it because it's here as a gift, and don't waste it. Because if you're wasting life, it's personal accountability. It's on you. You know what I mean? If you are
Yep.
not going out and trying to make the best of it, even in bad situations. I consider myself blessed in the life I have. And so I'm happy with that. I know that people have different lives, and some of them, it's very rough. And it's hard to sometimes look at life in a positive way. But if you look at it negative, it creates a negative feeling. So positive, even on things that seem bad, is the better way to get you out of a hole. And maybe if you can't get out of the hole, seek help. In my culture, seeking therapy and seeking help is almost like it's a taboo. But helping means sometimes getting advice from others, and that's important.
And there's another T, taboo.
Taboo.
He just keeps throwing them at me tonight. Like, I mean, like my book over here has just got like T all over it. I'm just like, my pot is full tonight.
It's a duck with all the T's hitting you.
Dude, I want to get into your book. How do your children feel about these books?
Oh, wow. They've been amazing supporters of the book. They like it on social media. That generation.
That's my daddy. Media, that's my daddy.
And they're proud of me. And when you get, I mean, they're in their mid and late 20s now, so they're adults, and they act like adults. They have relationships, they have full-time jobs, they have their own life. But what I find really, which brings us back to that they like this, is when they write in my Father's Day cards, what they wrote in it reflected that I've done good work. And that's why I can never say I'm a good father. It has to be them. They have to say that. So I could tell you, Liz, I'm this amazing father. Oh, I'm the best. And then your kids look at you and go, nope, no, you're not. So
I don't know who you're talking about.
yeah, you know who you talking to? Me? You talking to me? But they reflect it in the words that they write, and they care about what I'm trying to do. My son even got me a frame so I could put in the book and put it on the wall, because I have the frame of the first book that my son gave me. Son gave me a frame to put the first book. Now he gave me the frame for the second book, and my daughter is supporting it. And I have people who bought like bulk of books to actually give it to friends, and I've given some away free because it's I'm never gonna make $1 million in this, and if people thought I was doing this only for money, of course I want to break even and do so enough for the next book and next activity, but I do it because I love it and it makes me happy. Life is short.
Anybody out there that thinks they're going to become a millionaire writing books, good luck. I'm just going to tell you straight out, good luck, because there's so much behind the scenes, the marketing, the publishing, the editing, the rebranding, the imaging, the covers. Like, there's so much work that goes in behind a book that
and
no one sees, right?
So you're right. And I think the great thing, and I'm going to give my illustrator props because I've been talking about me. Let me talk about Monique Brent and the fact that her illustrations have driven the book. Her mind and my mind are melded. It's like a Star Trek episode, the Vulcan. You get the mind meld. Yeah, I see it. And she was also, and when I wrote something, she said, no. I'm sort of critical of that. She was fearless with me in saying what could be tweaked. So every time, the first person that sees the first draft of the book is her. So she can do the illustrations, but then she can say, well, Newton, it doesn't make any sense. Or Newton, is this for kids or for adults? And Newton, so she really helped to really do that work. And like I've said before in other podcasts, I wouldn't do this without her. She's an amazing person with a passion for art, because she's an artist. That's her full-time job, artist, painter, and she did the t-shirt. I have a couple of t-shirts, the Soul Sisters t-shirt. I've done some branding. I have t-shirts. I have a banner with the Soul Sisters, stickers. So it's become a bigger activity and something that I'm really proud of. And in a humble way, not in there's a Jamaican term, poppy show, where you're showing off. Yeah, man, I know everything. It's a humbleness that I've done this, and I put my sweat equity to do this. So it's really cool that way.
So Newton, you say you're from Jamaica. So what do Jamaicans think? How would you say, like, Soul Sister, Soul Brother in Jamaica kind of accent, kind of playful way?
Soul Sister, Soul Brethren and Soul Sisters, just love the book. It's all right. The book fine. It's like a nice jerk chicken and rice with the oxtail, but it's a book that's universal, and that's the beauty of it. It's a universal book. It's a book that somebody from Antarctica read it, and then somebody from Tahiti read it, and somebody from New York read it, and somebody from Boston read it. They understand. It's not a hard book to not understand, to understand, because it's very clear on what it's talking about. It's talking about love, challenges. It talks about a lot of other issues like bullying. The book talks about bullying. It talks about social acceptance. It talks about school, the challenges in school, feeling isolated, because one of the epidemics we have in this world is loneliness. And it reminds me of that song, All the Lonely People, Where Do They All Come From? I mean, it's an epidemic. Even with all this connective social media, this is where I sound old. Even with all this connective social media, people are still lonely. And so it's important for people to kick it old school. Sit down, have a drink, have some tea, and communicate with each other openly. That is the way we did it back. Here I go. That's the way we did it back in the day, Shorty. Back in the day when I was a kid, Shorty. You know what I'm saying?
So have you been back to Jamaica since you've written these books?
I haven't been back in a while. Well, it's been a while, but I was raised in Toronto, and I grew up in a large Jamaican culture within the Vaughan Road, Oakwood, Eglinton area of Toronto. in upper uptown Toronto, which has now become very gentrified and extremely expensive. But back in the day, it was a lot of Jamaicans, and I am Jamaican in my culture and my soul. My love for reggae music, my love for our culture, and just the love of the people. So I am Jamaican, but I left Jamaica when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Liz. So I've been here for a very long time. And so I've learned to, this is a weird one. I've learned to maneuver in this world, maneuver with and keep my spirit without losing my mind, which is a challenge for a lot of people who, no, it's serious, because this world could be a burden for the various isms, sexism, racism, all the isms of this world can leave you broken. And so I've been blessed with support networks that have helped me, including my amazing partner in crime, my wife, where, you know, like we're actually in a different stage right now. I call it the party stage. Let me explain. Let me explain why I call it the party stage. Because empty nesters, kids they're living their lives. We 2 weeks ago, we went to Halifax just to go. Took a plane trip to Halifax. We work out with this fitness company called Evolve Fitness in Halifax online. So we've been doing that ever since COVID. And so we went there just to work out there and meet them, and then we go out tomorrow. I'm going out to see a Steely Dan cover band in Pickering with my wife. So it's about enjoying the little things. Not when I say party, there's no wild party here. Those days are done.
In bed by 8.
Yeah. And you know what? The great thing about being our generation generally is that, like the old Kenny Rogers song, you know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. When it's time to go to bed, I'm gone.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, when it's time to look at the time, it's bedtime. Where am I going to be? In bed. So it's like simple as that. And there's a sense of confidence in that.
Right. And you know what, as we get older, we mature a lot, and we look at things differently. And the little things, like taking that trip to Halifax, and getting up early in the morning and having that time alone for yourself, we have to take that time, right? The self-care of ourselves as well, which is deeply important. You gave me pink and blue. We're having so much fun here. We're almost at the hour here. But you gave me pink and blue, and your books are pink and blue, correct?
Yes, they are. Pink, blue, and green, actually. Pink and blue. I love it's the artist, the abstract nature of the books. It's bright, it's pretty, it stands out. It's fun. Look in the Soul Brothers.
Oh, look at, he's cute. I swear, Miss, this is getting crushing on children's books here. I'm in big, deep love with Harold the Snail.
But
he's cute. I date him.
It's bright. The colors are bright. And the difference with this one, it has, actually on my picture, it has a description of the first book and going into the second book. So it talks about it as not a book, but a book series. This is a book series now, and I'm looking at doing probably one more, the final chapter, before I complete my Soul Sisters journey, and then try other things. I mean, it's kind of opened my eyes to writing and the art of writing, and the fact that I'm an author, which took me maybe the first year, about a year, to realize in my soul that I'm an author, because I've never described myself as that. Now I am a children's author, award-winning children's author. This is what I enjoy doing. So the legacy will live on beyond me. And maybe my kids will take up the Soul Sisters series and make a comic book or a movie. I don't know. The sky's the limit when trying to do something. It can become bigger than me. It's actually
And
already
I
gone.
love it that you have another book coming out because three strikes you're out, right? So it's
Yeah,
like a baseball game, right? You got
yeah,
your three, and then you're home. So you got your three
yeah,
books, and then you're home.
yeah. I'm looking at calling it either the final chapter or the final, because both books end. The first book ends the end for now, and then the next book ends the end for now. And the reason I did it was obviously I'm not done yet.
Yep.
And then in the next book, it will be the end.
And then you're at
For
home
now.
run. You just never know, right? But
You
I
never
like
know.
things
You
in
never know.
threes, right? And that's like
Yeah, yeah.
TEA is 3 letters, right?
Yeah,
Three
exactly.
words.
Exactly. It's a T. It's a three T's. I've only done the T, the ta. Now I gotta do the ah to make a T.
There you go. You need that in there.
Yeah, to close it up. I mean, yeah, very true.
So Newton, if anybody would like to reach out to you or know about where to get the books and all that, how can they get that?
Well, I have my website, soulsistersbook.ca. It's right at the bottom. I think it's on the screen there. That has all my media handles, has my Instagram, I have my Facebook book site. I've even did the real TikTok, and I even have LinkedIn on that. And I've done a few YouTube videos, but most of my videos and my is on my Facebook or my Instagram. So yeah, reach out with that, and then when you on the link, you'll find different ways of getting the book, either through my publisher, Friesen Press, Ingram. I sell it at local bookstores. I have it. I just dropped it off at local Whitby Library. It's in Pickering Library. It's in the different book. It's in a few local. I like I said, promotion's my thing, and that's why I do 9 to 5. So I've taken my 9 to 5 ability and put it in the book. And so, yeah, social media. And I'm also going to do an audio book on both books. So
Oh,
I'm actually
awesome.
going to do an audio book on both books. So I have a contact lead that does studio work. And I'm going to go into like a studio and do an audio. And I'll use my voice because my voice is, maybe I have a face for radio, you know?
You do. I can't wait for the audiobook because I like listening sometimes. I do a
Yeah,
lot of the white noise, right? A lot of I'll watch a program, but I'm not really watching the program. I'm more listening to it than I am
yeah,
watching it. So I love audiobooks for that reason. And especially when I'm driving on a long drive, I'm the passenger.
exactly.
I'm the little helper because I don't drive. So I, I'm
Mm.
called the little helper, right? So I'm just like, not
Yeah,
too close. I'm that passenger that, you know, slow it
yeah.
down, get it a little faster. What are you waiting for,
Oh, that
Pastor
sounds like
Car?
my wife. No, sorry.
So, what final words do you have, Newton, for everybody tonight?
My final words are um, try to do things out of your comfort zone sometimes. Try to do something because this book, the writing is I enjoy it, but it's really writing a children's book is out of my comfort zone. I do corporate engagement. I do corporate finance engagement for charities. I've been doing that for a long time. That's my career. This some people said author. Oh, you're an author. Wow, surprise. Uh, do things outside of your comfort zone and see what happens. Because when you're successful, when you do something outside of your comfort zone, it's the most satisfying success. I call it the Oprah Winfrey success. When you copyright, you own it, it's yours, and when it grows, it's yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, my last parting words are, be fearless out there, try, and if it doesn't work out, get up, and resilience is beautiful. Keep on trying.
Awesome. And I had a blast with you tonight. Like we always have fun when we come together.
Always,
Uh,
always,
you know,
Liz
and
T.
my tea is like full. I'm like tea here, tea.
I mean,
Like
it's overflowing with tea, overflowing with love and tea.
And I love it. I love when you shoot words at me, Newton, because it gets the conversation and the engagement going as well. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank
And
the
thank you.
listeners out there. Without you listeners, I could not do this. And I love the feedback. So give Miss Liz some feedback. If you have a tea and you would like to share a tea and you wouldn't like to be on a podcast, but you would still like to share your tea, you can reach out to me or Newton and we can put some teas together and have some fun. Miss Liz will be back on Monday, June 24th at 7 p.m. with Donna Levine. She is rescheduled. She was supposed to be June 3rd, but a little issue happened, so we're gonna get her fixed and get her in here, and we're gonna spill her tea, and she's gonna be bringing her book called The Talking Stick, so that's gonna be interesting. And then we're closing it up with Kim van der Sande from the Neverlands. She's coming in and she's going to be talking about the flower of love and connection and all of that good stuff. So we got some good stuff. And the press release for July has gone in. So you will see who the lineup is for July for Miss Liz. It just keeps flowing. The press release should be live on the 24th of June. So stay tuned for that as well. So Monday, that should be coming out. And you'll see the incredible lineup. We have more countries coming in. We have Austria coming in. We have Mexico coming in. We have all of these different countries coming in and sharing tea. So we're bringing in the culture. We're bringing in the diverse. And again, thank you, Newton, for bringing in the Soul Sisters and Soul Brothers, because without that, we couldn't have the unity of a nice, strong cup of tea tonight. So thank you so much for that.
It was an amazing cup of tea or teas. Have a great day.
Exactly, right? And for all the listeners out there and anybody that's listening to the replays, share these teas with somebody that it resonates with. And if you're looking for children's books, check out Newton's books. Check out all the other authors who have been on Teatime. There's incredible lineups there. And keep spilling your tea, the tea of life, not the beverage, but the tea of life. And that's how we full over here on Miss Liz's Teatime. So I'll see everybody Monday, same time, same place, and we'll do it all over again.
Take care, everyone.